number 5.
God loves a lullaby in a mother's tears in the dead of night.
Amy Grant is celebrating answered prayers, sharing photos of her battle scar following open-heart surgery. In her Instagram post, she writes, "Even stuff I was really scared about felt like nothing more than just a deep breath, and something supernatural pushed me through it. My recovery has honestly felt miraculous, and so I want to say thank you to each person who said a prayer for me. Prayer changes everything."
God just is a melody.
At number 4.
And the Oscar goes to...
You'll be waiting a little longer to hear that line.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has announced that the Oscars have been pushed from February 28th till April 25th. That's a whole 2 months.
Hollywood's COVID-19 shutdowns are extending the award season.
So basically, instead of a film having to come out by December 31st, it now has until February 28th to hit theaters. So it looks like a bunch of films that, were in production and had a halt production because of the pandemic, now may be able to make it to the 2021 Oscars.
At number 3. Chance the Rapper using his voice to challenge the church as protests against racism and police brutality persist in city streets. Chance tweeted, "I'm sure I'm gonna get replies from non-believers, but I'd like to ask my Christian followers out there, why don't we as a church explicitly address white supremacy and racism on Sundays?" The artist has also been using his Instagram page to share scriptures like Isaiah 1:17. Learn to do right, seek justice, defend oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow. At number 2.
A lot of us go through life without a purpose.
Have you ever thought about what you want to do with your life?
I like living in this moment here with you.
It's a Studio 5 first look at Two Hearts.
So life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes our purpose is bigger than we ever imagined.
The inspiring true story hits theaters nationwide in September.
To the meaning of the whole film, I thought it dealt with life, sort of described things that we may find difficult and enabled us to perceive that maybe there's a mystery to things and maybe there's a deeper meaning to things, and you might be in an experience and not quite understand that.
At number 1.
One thing that I learned is that you need to trust your instincts. We know how to do this.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard's directorial debut, a documentary on dads, which includes some famous and familiar faces from the Howard family.
We didn't initially necessarily make any guarantees as to whether or not the Howard family would be a part of this story. I really wanted to film an expecting father, and about halfway through shooting, my brother and his wife got pregnant and shared that news with us and became our expecting father. And so it made sense to include my grandfather's story and more of my dad because of Reed.
We don't have to make our family perfect, just make it wonderful. You get the tiniest window and then it's gone, so revel hard.
Go, 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 go!
The biggest surprise?
Probably the amount of, pretty much every dad cried.
Yeah.
Not that that was necessarily a surprise, because there's a lot of dads who are softies. Just wonderful, thank goodness for that. But I think the biggest surprise for me was probably with my brother, that he hadn't heard my dad say the thing that I've heard him say so many times, which is that my biggest fear is that I'll never be as good a father as my own father. And it seemed that dads seemed to come from either like one of two camps, like either they were aspiring in some way to be like their father, or they were rejecting, what they experienced as a child.
Dads streams to Apple TV Plus just in time for Father's Day.
What is a father?
Who knows? If I'm the expert, this whole project is in terrible trouble.
Well, joining us now is Ephraim Graham. And Ephraim, it's good to see you.
Hello.
All right, well, let's talk about the documentary on dads. You're a dad. How did it speak to you?
As I told Bryce, I said it's so funny because watching it, we talk in my family. The running joke is that I'm always the afterthought. I'm usually trying to take care of the members of my family. And as far as like when Father's Day come, no one's really sure what to do, what to get me, and that kind of thing. So I asked what made her do this? And she said it's that very same narrative, that dads are just used to doing what we've got to do, not looking to be celebrated or honored. And she's got a great relationship with her dad. And it's a beautiful tribute. I enjoyed the film, as I told Bryce, teared up a few times. And I could understand Ron Howard's concern is if you have a great dad, you want to duplicate that. So you really spend much of your life trying to measure what you're doing up against your dad. For me, it would be uncles and my grandfather, really. When I try to measure my success as a father, I'm looking back at the struggles my grandfather dealt with and the fact that he and my grandmother stepped into the plate and to raise me for much of my childhood and trying to measure myself up against that. And you don't usually measure up because they're your heroes. But it's a beautiful story.
Well, I hate to think of you being an afterthought.
Well, I can tell you this. My daughter asked me just yesterday, what do you want for Father's Day?
Oh, hey, at least she asked.
She did ask.
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah. Well, what advice would you guys give to fathers? I mean, Father's Day is coming up. It's this week. So what advice do you guys give?
Well, I got to ask, Ephraim, what did you ask for?
I asked for a bike.
A bike? Nice.
Yes.
You asked for a bike?
Yes, because I typically have been stealing her bike and her mom's bike because I don't have one of my own. So I borrowed theirs and I said, you want me to stop riding your bike? Maybe you guys should buy me a bike.
Pull together and get you a bike.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So what are you getting your dad?
I think he's a golfer. So I'm thinking about spending the day with him on the golf course with my mom.
Oh. Wow.
So
it's not just, here's some Titleists.
It's like, I'm coming with you because I
really?
want you to kind of I kind of want him to teach me a little bit. He's taught me some things, but yeah.
You're a golfer?
I wouldn't say I'm a golfer. I would say that I try, and
it's hard.
It is. It's very hard. So, but what advice would you guys give, Ephraim, Gordon?
What?
To dads out there.
To dads?
For me, I would just be present. My children have taught me that I don't have to know it all. I just really very often just need to be there. They're grateful that you're there.
Yeah.
My daughter and I watch movies a lot, and usually I fall asleep, and she doesn't even mind that. She covers me up, sits right there with me. It's just being there.
Yeah.
Well, that's
good.
really great advice. My advice to tag on to that is don't try to solve every problem. You've got to tamp down that. I want to be the provider. I want to be the problem solver. I want to be the go-to, and let's fix it all. Sometimes you have to let your kids just figure it out and give them the freedom to do that, which includes the freedom to fail.
Wow.
That I know in my life, I've learned more from my failures than I ever did from my successes.
Wow.
So
Same here.
If you're not giving your kids the freedom to do that. But let me underline what Ephraim said. Being there is the most important thing.
Yeah.
They absolutely just want you to hang out and just be dad.
Present.
And in all your glory. So get ready for them to criticize you. They're not necessarily going to respect what you want and don't necessarily insist on your favorite chair or whatever. I'm home from work and it's my time now. No, it's not your time. And it's time for the family, and you've got to bring it. You've got to bring your best.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. Thank you. All right, word from the wise. Okay, let's talk about Chance the Rapper. He's using his voice to challenge the church, which he, did in a couple of tweets and Instagram posts, right?
Yeah, this is an ongoing conversation, and if you follow him or read some of the tweets, you can be disheartened by some of the pushback he's getting for challenging the church. But I do applaud him because I think it's also sparking some great dialogue and conversation, even if it is just on social media. And yes, it is certainly important. Who could disagree that the answer to the world's problems will always be Christ and the church?
Absolutely. Yeah. I saw somebody with T-shirts recently that says, Jesus is justice. It's actually from the guest that we're going to talk to today. So, and I was like, yes, and amen.
Amen.
Love it.
All right. Well, for all the latest in entertainment news, check out Ephraim's weekly show. It's called Studio 5. You can watch it on the CBN News channel, online at cbnnews.com/Studio5. And Ephraim, we'll see you again next week. And happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you, Gordon. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gordon Robertson. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more encouraging videos like this one. Welcome to the 700 Club Interactive family, and God bless you.